So we have some new details in the death of Joshua Brown. Now, Brown, of course, was one of the key witnesses in the case against Amber Geiger, who was found guilty of murder for killing Botham Jean. So now, Brown was shot and killed last week, not long after he served as a witness for the prosecution in that murder trial. So it's a very high profile murder trial. One of the first police officers to go to prison for shooting an unarmed black man. So now Geiger, like I said, went into Botham Jean's apartment and shot him. And oh no, she said that it was a mistake. I thought it was my apartment. I thought he was coming at me. It turns out, no. According to Brown's testimony, there was some argument. And I think argument's the wrong word. Basically, he heard, hey, what are you doing in here? Essentially, well, he couldn't really make out what they were saying, but it sounded like Botham Jean was very, very, very surprised to see Amber in his apartment. And of course, we all know why. Okay, so now, remember, this guy, he is a victim, right? Joshua Brown. Now, according to Dallas PD, Brown, they allege, was killed in a drug deal. Okay, now wait a minute here. Now, Brown was gunned down in the parking lot of his apartment complex after as he exited his car. So that's what we know right now, right? So now, according to the police officer report from Dallas PD, three men allegedly involved reported. I'm sorry, the three men allegedly involved reportedly drove about 300 miles and over 4 hours from Alexandria, Louisiana, to Dallas to buy marijuana from Josh Brown. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay. So now I'm going to explain why that doesn't make sense. But already, now, according to the police, the drug deal had gone bad, turned into a physical altercation, which led to one of the three men being shot by Brown. So Brown allegedly pulled out a gun, shot one of the three men. Brown was shot in retaliation, and now the story gets really, really odd. Now, the men allegedly grabbed the gun Brown used to shoot their friend and his backpack, but not the money, not the drugs, and then escaped. So now, then they dropped their friend off at a hospital, and then they're gone. They disappeared. Okay. Now, the man who was in police custody after he was hospitalized reportedly told police what happened. And so the police, they went and searched this guy's apartment, Josh Brown's apartment. Now, after the search, they reportedly found 12 pounds of marijuana, of 149 grams of THC vape cartridges, and $4,000 in cash. So now, that does not make sense. Why would somebody, for one, cross state lines and drive 300 miles for weed from a guy who was just caught up in a very public trial of a police officer? That does not make sense. And it also doesn't make sense that Brown would, since he's hot, right? Since he's well known now as being a star key witness against a police officer that killed an unarmed black man, he would decide to go and have a good idea to sell drugs. No, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Now, some people are buying it, and I mean the story, not the alleged weed. But I don't understand. I don't understand who would buy it. Other than, I guess people who have this certain caricature, this certain thing in mind when they think about black people. So now there's more questions, right? So now, why didn't they take the drugs that they came up to buy? Why leave the drugs? Why was it still conveniently in his apartment when the deal was allegedly taking place in a parking lot? Why would you do a drug deal in the parking lot and not actually have the drugs? Why not take the guy's money? Oh, okay, maybe it's because one of their guys got shot and they had to go. And then, but for some reason, the guy who was shot is again supposedly shot in the chest, right? And then spills everything to the police about Brown. That doesn't make any sense. And look, also, again, if you were a drug dealer, wouldn't somebody have found that out? Either the defense or the prosecution? I mean, again, he's a witness for the prosecution. Wouldn't the defense try to vet that witness to try to discredit them before or during the trial? Why now after the trial? Again, nothing makes sense other than possible character assassination. I know it seems crazy, but look, think about it. He helped to get a cop put away for 10 years, right? And so like, okay, so police tend to protect their own. We know that, right? And so, look, the cops tried to protect her. They obviously didn't fail, or I'm sorry, they obviously did not succeed. They failed at this, and so she ends up getting put away, despite police trying to make a case for her. Oh, she was tired. She had worked an extended shift. She, coming up with all sorts of excuses, right? And so I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You don't think that some people would be angry that they were able to put away a policewoman for 10 years? No. What about the guy who, Geiger was sexting and calling right before she shot Botham Jean? What about that guy? You think he might be a little angry at this? I don't know. The whole story really, really stinks. And you know what's worse is that this might be used to call in the results of the trial. Because, oh no, now we know. They're going to say, now we know that one of these key witnesses was a shady drug dealer who got himself killed. For some people, I think it calls into question the entire case. Oh, I know those black people. They're up to no good. Maybe Botham was a violent drug dealer too. You don't know. The witness was. And it also possibly sets up Geiger for a retrial. I know that sounds crazy, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but could it? I don't know. This sure seems like a smear job to me on someone who's dead. And how many times have they done that? How many times have they taken a dead man, tested him for drugs or her for drugs? And it's, oh, look, we found marijuana in their system. I guess they must be a bad person. I guess they must have earned it. They must have deserved it. Or, look, you can't trust their testimony because they're bad people. I don't know, man. This makes me wonder if this isn't planned out. There isn't some sort of conspiracy going on here. And I know I hate doing this. And I hate coming up with conspiracies. But, man, this story does not add up whatsoever. Their defense adds up to what, it just doesn't add up. And there needs to be some answers, some real answers. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to get them. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.